fragile mental state. Today, a former chief prosecutor said he felt there was probably little choice.
Undoubtedly, they felt they had enough. They had, I think, a 999 call recording. They had body-worn camera worn by the police. They would have had medical evidence. They would have had other evidence. And they have to take domestic abuse seriously, because we as a country have said we should take domestic abuse seriously. When you've got 750,000 reports to police every year, 75,000 prosecutions, so only 10% of those reports end in a prosecution. 120 people are murdered in domestic homicide situations, and we keep telling them if they'd intervened earlier, that maybe somebody wouldn't have suffered even more serious harm. So they are doing what we ask them to do.
The role of the press and social media has also come under scrutiny. A petition calling for action has been signed by more than 200,000 people. Meanwhile, tonight, Love Island will return to our screens with a tribute. A statement from ITV said, "Many of us knew Caroline well and held her in great affection. She'll forever be in our hearts." David Sillito, BBC News.
Well, if you or someone you know has been affected by the issues raised in that report, you can find help and support on the BBC's Action Line website at bbc.co.uk/actionline or call 0800 066 066. The French Foreign Minister has said he expects the UK and the European Union to rip each other apart in Brexit trade talks due to begin next month. The British government wants to secure an agreement by the end of the year, but Jean-Yves Le Drian has warned the target will be difficult to achieve.
Autant je pense que sur les questions commerciales.
On trade issues and the mechanism for future relations, which we are going to start on, we are going to rip each other apart. But that is part of negotiations.
Our assistant political editor Norman Smith was laughing at my French accent there in Westminster, but I'm going to try again. I mean, zut alors!
Merde, yes. He's not a man to mince his words, is Monsieur Le Drian. I mangle them. I don't mince them. I mangle them. But if that's the sort of reception we're going to get in the negotiations, then it's going to be some rumble in the jungle, shall we say, because it seems as if the EU and in particular France are in a mood to be pretty tough with Britain when it comes to the sort of deal we can get. And clearly the French view is that if we want a deal, then we're going to have to sign up to a whole load of EU regulations on workers' rights and the environment. The problem being, we know Boris Johnson has already said, no, we don't want that. We want to be able to go our own way when it comes to regulation. So it's hard to see how an agreement is going to be reached, particularly in the very short time space we've got of just under a year to get a deal. And the other thing which I think suggests this is going to be really difficult is the suggestion from the French Foreign Minister that they are not in the mood to compromise over fish, meaning they want to retain access to British fishing waters. Again, we know Boris Johnson has said, no, that's not happening. Fishing waters around the coast will be for British boats. So if this is really going to be the position of the EU, then getting that deal is going to be incredibly difficult.
I thought Brexit was done.
Well, stage one, yes, we have left, but stage two, where we're going to, that's still to be agreed. And the choice is pretty clear now. Either we get some sort of deal with the EU in the next 12 months, or Boris Johnson has said he will go for what he calls the Australia option. Translated, what that really means is leaving without a deal. Now, he's pretty relaxed about that. He thinks we can manage. He thinks that we'll be able to do deals with other countries. He wants to start negotiations at the same time with the US. He wants a bigger effort in striking trade deals with Commonwealth countries. But I think for many manufacturers and big companies in Britain, the idea of not having a trade deal with the EU, our main trading partner, something like 40% of our exports go to the EU, I think many of them would look at that with real alarm.
Do you want to issue an apology for the use of that language now, or should we wait an hour?
There's nothing wrong with franglais. What are you moaning about?
Vicky Young wouldn't do it. Norman, thank you very much. You're watching Afternoon Live. Let's have a look at the weather, the forecast for the next few days. Darren is back. We saw that picture. That's Hereford. Everybody's going to be hoping it calms down, but...
Well, we've not really had a winter, so to speak, have we? We haven't really seen much cold weather. It's been pretty mild, but it has been wet and windy, and there's no sign of anything settled coming up anytime soon, Simon, which is not particularly good news. Yes, this was a picture taken by a weather watcher earlier on today in Hereford, and we've got a severe flood warning here in place. Generally speaking, the number of flood warnings has been dropping today across England and Wales. There's still over 200, mind you, and the flood risk is set to continue. But the more persistent rain has swept away together with all that cloud, is now heading into continental Europe. Storm Dennis is wandering over towards Norway, and instead we've got the showery airstream coming in from the Atlantic. So not the persistent rain, but still some heavy showers around and some sunshine too, and it's turning a bit cooler through the afternoon. The wettest of the weather is likely to be much further north into Scotland and Northern Ireland. Some longer spells of rain here this evening and early in the night, perhaps coming into the far north of England, bringing some snow over the higher ground and the risk of some icy conditions as well. Further south, the showers will be fewer. Many central and eastern parts of England may well be dry, but it will be cold. There may be a few pockets of frost around come the end of the night. Tomorrow, another cool feeling, blustery sort of day with sunshine and showers. We'll see a few coming into England and Wales in the morning. Probably a band of wetter weather sweeping its way down during the afternoon, and all the while the showers keep rattling into Scotland, Northern Ireland and the northwest of England. Perhaps a bit more wintry over the high ground as the air here gets a bit colder. Highest temperatures in the southeast, where it should be largely dry until we get some wet weather in the evening. A lot of those showers will tend to fade away overnight, but we look out into the Atlantic to see the next weather system arriving. Now, for many eastern parts of the UK, well, it will be dry to start with on Wednesday, but we need to look further west and again, unfortunately, into the Welsh Hills. More weather warnings of heavy rain, perhaps threatening some more flooding too. There's the dry weather that we've got for eastern areas further west. It clouds over, the winds pick up, and we see rain arriving. And again, it will be heavier over the hills of Wales, also northwest England, Northern Ireland and western Scotland, and temperatures here sitting at around 8 or 9 degrees. That wetter weather will push its way eastwards during Wednesday evening and Wednesday night. The first area of rain on that weather front there, but we get another burst of rain on the second weather front. This is going to bring some heavy bursts of rain because we've got quite mild air ahead of it and colder air coming in behind. So it's an active weather front. By that I mean some heavy and persistent rain. Now it should move through fairly quickly and arrive in the southeast later, and then behind that band of rain in Scotland and Northern Ireland, well, it turns cold.